Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q4 FY Results Conference Call of Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, hosted by ICICI Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, operator, and good afternoon to all the participants who are joining in. We have Hindustan Aeronautics Limited management with us today to discuss Q4 and fiscal year 21 results. From the management side, we have Mr. R. Madhavan, Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. C.V. Ananthakrishnan, Director of Finance and CFO, and Mr. M.S. Velpari, Director Operations. So without further ado, I hand it over to Mr. Madhavan for his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to everybody who has joined us on this call, and thank you for joining us today to discuss our financial results for the fourth quarter and the full financials for the 2021. Today we will take you through our financial and achievements in a short while from now, and later on we can have the question and answer sessions after that. As already told, I got my Director of Finance and CFO, Mr. Ananthakrishnan, with me, and also Mr. Velpari, who is the Director of Operations. Yesterday, we had a board meeting where we finalized the results for the year 2021 and for the fourth quarter, and the same is available in our website, as well as we have filed with the stock exchange. The year has posed significant challenges, as well as we had great opportunities, and the company has successfully come out of the pandemic situation of last year and ended the year in a positive note. On the projects front, during the year, the company has achieved many milestones which will help the company in repositioning itself to meet the growing requirements of the Indian Armed Forces. HAL produced FOC standard LCA aircrafts, and two of them we produced from a second line that we have made operational now. The initial operational clearance from the Indian Army has been received for the light utility helicopter. The tail boom folding operation of ALH has been demonstrated and is now under flight trials. And this will be an opportunity for us to enter the naval requirements. The first upgraded ALH Mark III for civil has been produced and is being used for obtaining civil certification. And the performance-based logistic, which is a new thing for us, we have started this maintenance activity with Indian Coast Guard, and the helicopters are already in service with them. And the biggest cryogenic propellant tank ever fabricated for ISRO was delivered to ISRO on 28th November. So these are basically on the company's projects. As far as financials are concerned, the revenue has grown 6.1%, as you could have seen from our results, and a 3-year CAGR of 7.11%. The PAT has grown by 13.76%, and the 3-year CAGR is 17.62%. And the EBITDA is around 25%, and with a growth of 8.02% over the previous year. And the EPS also has grown by around 14% to 96.68, and a CAGR of 20% during the last 3 years. The cash flow, which was a point of concern during our last analyst meet, has now improved. We were able to collect a record 34,476 crores as against around 18,000 crores previous year. And we have now become cash positive to the extent of 7,100 crores. And this also includes around 5,900 crores of advance received against the new 83 LCA orders. The order book position also has improved. Now it is standing at 80,739 crores as against 52,900 crores previous year. We expected it to grow past 1 lakh crores, but because of the COVID reasons, some of the orders could not be placed by the ministry in time. We hope that will come out very soon. And as I told, the cash balance position is good, and we hope that this year also, though if there is no third wave, we'll continue to maintain the growth path. And this year also we have sufficient workload as of now, and we are also gearing up to make good whatever we had lost in the first quarter. Another question you made that?
Yeah. So good afternoon. I'm Anantha Krishnan. As our chairman has already summed up the highlights of the last financial year 2021. I would also not like to get again into these details of the financial parameters since it is already available to you. Only thing which, as of today, we can really, what the issues of concern which were there in the last year, I would like to highlight a few concerns which were there then and which is not there anymore now. One of the, during the last year when we had this analyst meet, during this part of the time, we have our order book position was a little bit of concern because the AA order was getting delayed. And similarly, the most critical issue was that the first quarter results were not quite, because of the lockdown, we were not well prepared as to how it will go on. There were a lot of uncertainties. And the most critical issue was on the cash flow front because the cash flow situation was not improving to the extent desired. And so we had difficulties continuing in the cash flow front. So today all of these concerns are addressed, and today we are sitting in a much better situation. Now on the COVID pandemic situation, even though the first quarter of last year we had a setback, we could recover in the second quarter, and then subsequently in the third and fourth quarter we could post a surplus growth. And this year, yes, similar situation has been there in the first quarter, but having had the experience of the last year first quarter and the first pandemic wave, we are well prepared and well equipped to handle the current year as well. Now the most important thing is that on the financial parameters, on the performance of the financials, we have been consistent in our growth. I will not say it is a very robust growth, but consistently we have been performing year on year. And the most critical issue, most important issue which I would like to highlight is on the profit after tax. Profit after tax, we had almost grown by around 13% in the current financial year, and the earnings per share also has gone up to that equivalent extent. So these two are considered, the growth rate is first time we are achieving a double-digit growth rate as far as PAT is concerned and the EPS is concerned. So this is a good indicator for the things to come in the future. And most important is that the cash flow situation, which was a matter of concern last year, is no more a concern for us. In fact, the customer had really helped, helped us to come out of the cash flow problems. They had given us sufficient budget allocation. All the backlogs have been cleared. The receivables, which were somewhere around 11,000 crores at the beginning of the year, today it stands at around 5,800 crores. So a very drastic reduction of the receivables. Not only that, there were the advances which were due to us for the future products, because HAL we manufacture products with a long lead time. So we need to get milestone payments that were not coming through. But today that advances and milestone payments also have been cleared. And all this has enabled the company not only to receive bring down the receivables, but also to put ourselves in a much better cash position to take care of the future operations. So from borrowing, as you are aware that last year, our borrowing was somewhere around 5,800 crore cash credit. And today the borrowing, it is no more borrowing. We are a zero debt company as of 31st March, and we have a cash surplus of around 7,000 crores. In fact, the incidence of interest financing costs also has come down from 270 crores around that figure last year and to 202 crores in the current financial year. That is on the payment to the banks for the borrowings which we had done up to December. Since the last quarter, the situation has improved. We have started getting the collections improving in the last quarter of the last financial year 2021, and that has helped us to not only reduce the interest cost to almost 20 crores in the last quarter, fourth quarter, but also to overall interest to restrict to around 202 crores and also make us a cash surplus company of 7,100 crores. So all this added to this, We have also taken, as you are aware, that we have been discussing in the last 2 financial years after our listing, whenever we had the analyst call, issues of concern relating to our cost. One was on the manpower cost, the other one was on the inventory, the third one was on the overhead expenditure. All the 3 parameters we have introduced because, since January 2009, certain austerity measures, and that has really given us good results. On the manpower cost, which was somewhere around 23%, 24% 2 to 3 years back, our target has been to consistently see that what improvement we can show in the manpower, because it was much above the industry average of 16%. Today we are inching towards the industry average, and last year the manpower cost has been brought to 19%. So which means that a 4% reduction over a period of two years, we feel that it has given us a lot of confidence that we will be in a position to achieve further reduction on the manpower cost. Similarly, in respect of your overhead expenditure, various austerity measures, we could save almost 200 crores. From 1400 crores 2 years back, it has come down to now almost 1200 crores in the current year. So the reduction in overhead expenditure, it's almost 200, which will directly add to our profit. So this is one of the results of our austerity measures which we have taken in the recent past. More important is on the inventory front. Inventory, we were always holding an inventory of close to 20,000 crores. In fact, it was somewhere around for 24,000 crores, almost 440 days of inventory we were holding in 2017-18, which has been steadily coming down. And the current year, we could bring down the inventory levels to 16,500, which is almost 270 days. We feel that more or less this is the optimal level of inventory. Maybe another 30 days we could target because of the long lead items which we'll have to procure from the foreign OEMs. So this being the case, the future outlook also, as far as our CMD has recapitulated, it looks quite positive for us. Some more orders are to come because of the pandemic. Certain orders could not be concluded in the last year. These orders are likely to come in the current year. The order book position, we expect it to improve in the current year as well, to a very healthy order book at the end of the current financial year. So like what with some of these orders which have materialized at 70, SGT-40 and then additional Sukhois and things like that are there, which probably we will get more visibility in the days to come. So this broadly sums up the financials of the company as financials and the outlook of the company for the current, past performance and for the future growth, current year as well. I think that sums up, and maybe
after this we can start taking the questions.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants are requested to limit the questions to 2 per participant. If you have a follow-up question, you may rejoin the queue. The first question is from the line of Bhagyesh Kagalkar from HDFC Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
So my question is regarding the orders that you anticipate. You already mentioned them, 15 LCS, 12 SU-30. But interestingly, you also mentioned that you intend to participate in the naval or light utility helicopter project also. You are prepared for that. So what is the timeline for that project, whosoever wins the order? And the second question is regarding the execution for this year and next year, the revenue guidance, because we understand that there are a lot of disruptions on Bangalore side also due to the unfortunate COVID wave. So can you throw more highlight on that?
Your question is in 2 parts. The first question is regarding the anticipated orders. As we just now mentioned, there were 2 that you just mentioned. That is one regarding the SGT-40 for 17 numbers. That is the basic trainer, and one regarding the Su-30 additional order for 12 numbers, along with certain modifications, so included into the new order. These two has been told. There is others in the line that is regarding LUH, that is 12 numbers we are expecting anytime now because we have started work on it already. And we also expect an order for 25 LHS from Army that is likely to be in the process now. So these two are also there. On top of that, more than that is a order that is required to be placed on us to keep the Su-30 line on regarding engines. So we expect a large order on engines, and both for Su-30, that is the engine name is number is AL31FP, and also for RD-33, which is required for the MiG-29 fleet. So these are the two orders on the engine front that we expect. Though this year there will, because we have planning to supply the balance of the old order regarding LCA, and of course the orders on your helicopters, that is from Coast Guard, the Navy, and also from Army. So this will be the major supplies this year. And the engine front also will be supplying the engines which is balance available with us for the Su-30 project. So this will be our major line of activity this year, and we expect that it will go as planned, unless of course there is another third wave or something like that. We cannot predict that one, but otherwise we hope that everything goes as planned, and our growth will be similar or in similar lines as what it was there for the last couple of years. The second question and what you asked was the effect of the pandemic. Yes, we had a problem this year beginning also, just like last year. So the first quarter will be a little bit a problematic issue for us. But then if as it goes without any more interruptions, we will be able to make good whatever we have lost this year in the beginning. So that should not be an issue. And of course, again, that your supply chain lines are getting opened up progressively, and we hope that it will continue to be held good till that time. And our vendors are also up and about, supplying us the material that is required for us to build the aircrafts.
Okay, sir. And when do you expect, now in light of all these circumstances of COVID, the first LCA the Mark 1 from the 83, 84 aircraft, when can it get delivered?
As per the contract, it is to be delivered in March. The first two numbers are in March 24, and we will continue to maintain that date.
Okay, you will maintain it. Okay, thanks, sir. All the best from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jonas Bhutta from Phillips Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir, and congratulations on a great set of numbers. Couple of questions. Firstly, a bookkeeping question, sir. If you can give us a breakup of the order book like you have given in the presentation for revenues, a similar breakup for order book would be great, sir, between manufacturing, ROH, development, and exports.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
I'll give you the exact numbers, so just let me read it out from there. Yeah, see the order book position, if you look at it, is 83 LCA. That's, we got it during the Aero Show this February. That is for 36,270 crores. The LCA existing order, balance of the existing order is 4,900 crores. ALH 36 numbers, balance of which is 10,000 crores pending with us. Su-30 balance about 377 crores is there. AL31FP, the engine part of it, is 1,700 crores. IJT, we have a balance order of 5,490 crores. 17 Dornier MLU, that is midlife upgrade, is for 1,000 crores is with us, and the Jaguar Darrin upgrade is also available with us for 2,100 crores. Then there are smaller numbers, that is Mirage upgrade for 780 crores, and aerospace structures, which is around 1,000 crores. Then we also provide engines for the your Navy. So, and for the shipyards, that is LM 2500, there is an order pending of 8 quantities for 700 crores. Dornier, we have got one order for 360 crores, and others, which are all like Keithals and others, we have got another 700 crores worth of it. Other than that, we have a yearly RMSO order, that is your MRO order for around 7,500 crores, and an export order of 104 crores. So this all put together makes it to 80,639 crores.
So just summing up everything, the manufacturing order book is roughly 65,500. Is that?
Yeah, that's true.
Fair?
That's true.
And the MRO, the ROH order book would be 7,500, or because it was almost 14,000 last year. So
yeah, it is because it will be along with that there is spares also that we supply. So between RMSO and spares put together, this year also it will be 14,500 plus. And then there is a design development orders on us, that is around 1,400 crores.
Understood. So my second question was in terms of the sales mix that you plan to have in the next 2 years, which is FY22 and 23. If you can tell us, what will be the impact of that sales mix on the material margin? So what we've seen in FY21 is our material margins, have come down a lot compared to the FY20 level, despite the share of ROH and spares actually going up in our sales. Most likely this is going to be the case even in 22-23, where ROH continues to grow and manufacturing largely remains flat. So how should we look at the gross margins, the material margins of the company over the next 2 years, sir?
See, the ROH sales to your new aircraft sales will continue to be in the same fraction as it is today. So that will be there till 22-23. This will change only in 24 onwards, because that's when this new orders come into picture. That is, the deliveries start against the new order is only on 23-24 onwards. So this 1 year it will be, the margin will, this one will be same, and I don't think there will be any change in the margins that we have already projected to you.
Yeah. Jonas, this is Ananthakrishnan. As far as the material consumption is concerned, I think you have been comparing it with the current year, which is at around 48%. More or less, the mix of ROH and this will continue. The manufacturing orders and the ROH will continue to be the same, and the material, we expect it to be, depending on what will be the ratio, it will be somewhere between 45 to 48%, which should be the material consumption. That ratio will continue to remain. We will vary by only 2 to 3%.
Understood. And the employee expense, which you closed closer to 4,300 crores in 21, is there and that's a decline on a YOY basis by about 6%.
Yeah, 0.5% CAGR is there on that, 0.53.
Right. So how should we model for going forward? As in, was there some bit of one-offness in FY21 where employee costs are artificially looking low, or you think that this 4,300 crores is the kind of run rate we should look for even going forward in 22-23, or do you expect some hike in that?
As far as the employee cost is concerned, what has been there in the financial statements of 4,290, almost 4,300 crores, but this has got a one-time adjustment. In fact, we have given it as a disclosure. There has been a sort of dispute which has been going on on the methodology of pay fixation between HAL and the C&AG. That is at government auditors. Now that we have been taking it up with our ministry also, but the ministry has given a directive recently, so for which we need to provide. That has accounted for a reduction in the salaries and wages which taking into account the past fixation, if at all it is getting rectified, it's subject to again our board approving it for the recovery. There has gotten one-time element of around 190 crores into that. So if you are going to factor that, our normal salary should be in the range of around 4,450 crores, and this will be the trend which will be taken up in the future with some escalations of around 3 to 4% for the current financial year.
Sorry to interrupt. May I request Mr. Bhuta to please rejoin the queue? We have participants waiting for the turn. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Venkatesh Subramanya from Logic Tree Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
So I have a couple of questions. One is with respect to the orders that you are expecting. Is it possible to quantify that, sir? Because you mentioned that what kind of order prospects do you expect to get in the next financial year? One. And the second question is the current order book of 80,000 crore. What would be the execution time frame, sir, for that?
See, if you take expected orders that we are saying, first of all, for the 15 LCH, it will be around 2,600 crores. And for 12 Su-30s that we are expecting is around 10,000 crores. And for 70 HTT-40 is around 7,000 crores. And for the engines, that is around 73 numbers, we expect around 6,000 crores in that order. And for the engines for the MiG-29, it will be for around 2,500 crores. These are the major ones that we are looking at it. As far as the timeline for execution is concerned regarding 83 LCA, it starts from 3 years from the date of signing the contract, which was February 21. And it was put in place in March 21. So we are supposed to start the first order deliveries from March 24 onwards. Starting with 2 numbers, then 8 numbers, then it ramps up to 16 and 20. So 16 numbers. So that is how it is going to be. The order will be closed out 6 years from the date of the first delivery.
Okay. And just wanted to congratulate you on your excellent cash flow turnaround, sir. It is amazing. So FY22, if the year goes normal, what do you expect the cash reserves position to be at the end of FY22, sir, in a normalized scenario?
We expect at the best that it will continue to be a positive this one for us. There won't be, we will try to get our dues this year also. I don't see anything against that as of now.
And the cash balance, as the cash surplus is expected to be more or less around the same level, around 7,000 crores, around 7,000 to 8,000 crores.
That 7,000 you do after payment of dividends and everything else. Is that what you?
Yeah.
The net cash flow at the end of the financial year is expected to have a cash surplus of around 7,000 to 8,000 crores.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhavin Vitlani from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
See, at the outset, congratulations for great performance and especially on the balance sheet. My question is on the helicopter. So if you could help us understand what is the pending order of ALH, what is the pipeline of ALH that you see over the medium term, 4 to 5 years, which are the other large opportunities in the helicopter, and what is the status of the new helicopter complex that we are building in Tumkur?
Yeah, I would give those data. We have already concluding the LCH LSP contract. The order potential is there for LSP after finishing LSP for the series production, which will be about 147 additional numbers. And we are also told you regarding the HTT-40, for which there is an initial order potential of 70, which could be followed by another 36, which will be in the pipeline. And then coming to LUH, we have received a LOA for 12 numbers that has a order potential for about totally 187 numbers. Two on the platform, rotary platform side, and 2 on the fixed platform. Fixed platform, one is HTT, the second one is topping up of 12 numbers of Su-30, which should be immediate. These are the 4 platform-wise immediate order potential. Apart from that, I same the earlier remark on engines, because engines gets mandatorily replaced after certain hours of flying. That will give us good order potential, both ALFP 31FP engine for 230 and RD33 engine. These are the immediate visibility for the order potential of engines, fixed wing and rotary wing. Apart from this, we had maybe slightly, if you look at the further with the more foresight, we also have in our radar LCA Mark II and AMCA, which will be slightly very long-term one, along with our own rotary platform, which will be IMRH. This could be the next set of tranche of business after finishing this first set of business.
And what is the potential for the ALH? What could be the additional potential of ALH orders?
ALH order, after completing the present army order, we expect some more to come, somewhere around 25 numbers there. And further orders from the other customers are also likely to come. In fact, we are also entering the civil version of the ALH, so we expect certain orders to be placed on the civil version. And we are also looking at the export orders for ALH Mark III specifically. And we are following that up now. So these are the orders likely to come on ALH. Derivatives of the same is basically looking at it is LCH, which will be a platform for the future along with LUH. So the one is a light utility helicopter, which is a 3.5 tons category, and the other one LCH, which is the weaponized version of it, is that will be around 147, as he said. So we are looking at those two areas that will be our drivers for future. As far as you asked one more question regarding the Tumkuru facility, it is already coming up. In fact, we have already flown the first aircraft from there last December, and we are expecting that the LUH production will start from there in the coming year, that is in 2022, with the start of the first 2 helicopters being delivered from there somewhere around August. The project is going on fine, and the phase 1 is already completed, and the phase 2 and phase 3 of the project is going on there. And we expect that by August 2022, we should be able to start the production line from that, from Tumkur.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking my questions.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Harshit Patel from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. Sir, my first question was on the LCA Tejas FOC execution. So, sir, could you tell us what is the remaining portion of that contract as to how many numbers are still to be delivered? So, will it be completed in FY22? And also, as a follow-up, will we be able to complete all the LCA trainers also in FY23?
You are correct. You are correct, because we have got 6 more to deliver. In fact, we couldn't deliver all of them because the pandemic had affecting us in the last bit of the last year. So it is ready already, and some 6 more that we have to deliver this year. With that, the FOC part of it will be over, and there will be a pending order for 8 numbers of trainers with us. The trainers, the design is just now frozen, and this one is your design is getting converted now. We will be supplying that during 22-23. So that will close all the previous 40 order for 40 with us. And then this is in line with our plan, because we don't want the line to be left empty. So we are spreading it out so that from 23-24 onwards, when the 83 LCA comes, the line will be still valid for us.
Sure, understood, sir. Sir, a second question was actually on our design and development pipeline. So earlier you had mentioned that just a couple of quarters ago that there is a huge pipeline in terms of design and development orders. So sir, where do we stand on that? So actually our overall FY21 order intake, as you mentioned, around 1400 crore, was quite lower than what we had earlier expected. So sir, how are we progressing on that particular front?
No, it is, I won't say that it is lower, because this year also we have reached the same number. And we will be having that will go up little bit with the new projects coming in. So as we told you, the new projects that we have on the design board is basically the IMRH, which is a huge project for us. That is where the design component itself is around 10,000 crores, covering both all Army, Navy, and Air Force put together. So that's around 9,600 crores to be precise. So that will be there. On top of that, the LCA Mark II, which is basically an ADA design, but it is being executed within our company, that is through ARDC, that is Aircraft Research and Development Wing. For us, they are doing it, as well as for AMCA, for which the design is going to start next year. So this, and also there is one more for TED BF, that is for the Navy. So these are on the fixed wing side that is going to come. Other than that, we also have design projects for a 200 kg rotary UAV, and also there are 2 design projects for the engines, which is concurrently going on now. So the design projects, there are quite a few design projects on the annual. So we expect that this 1,400 crores that we generally spend on the R&D front will continue to be there with a slight growth in this.
Understood. So if I could just squeeze in a small question. So sir, you had earlier mentioned that there is a Sukhoi 30 upgradation program going on. So it was earlier to be finalized in FY22. So sir, is there any update on the same? That would be my last question.
Yeah, it is going on now also. Because of the pandemic, we couldn't get the Russians on board in time, but it is going on. So this year we expect that it will be finalized and the actual work on that will start.
So this is different from the 12 new manufacturing numbers that we are expecting. Am I right? Or are both these?
It will be different. It will be different. The 12 numbers also have certain upgrades included into it. But the thing is that these upgrades are different from that this one, and that will be different from this 12 Su-30s that we are on order. This is a top-up order based on the previous supplies that we have made to them.
So it will be applicable to all the 250 units that we have supplied till now, around 250?
That depends on the Air Force call on that. So we expect a large portion of it to be covered, but not necessarily all 250 of them.
No, understood, sir. Thank you very much for taking my question.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Urmil Shah from Haitong Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. So just wanted to understand, in the existing order which you would have got, in the current scenario where there has been a significant upsurge in input prices, has that impacted the increase in input prices in this year, and how should we see it for next couple of years?
See, let me take as a case only the 83 LCA order, which is the biggest one of the lot. So based on that, you can decide on the others. We did have a very tight, pricing for the LCA at 309 crores per piece. So we had to reduce the input costs to the extent that we meet this as well as make a decent profit out of it. So we are looking at reducing the input costs, especially since the volume is big. So we are now negotiating with all the suppliers for a reduction in the cost. We have been achieving good success rate in that. In fact, we are just now concluding the engine part of it, which we managed to get at a very reasonable price as compared to what we were expected to get in that. So as the procurement of material goes on, we will include this condition that the procurement prices should be less than what we have procured earlier because of the increase in the volumes. So we are getting that results now. So we don't expect that material costs will be an issue as far as the supply of this 83 LCA is concerned.
Just to add to what our CMD has told, the input cost rises which you have been flagging, it may not be really make an impact for HAL because ours is all the foreign procurement for which already contracts have been signed, LTBS, that is that long-term business agreements have been executed. So for all the pending order book position, what we have shown, the parameters have all been, more or less finalized with the vendors, and it has been continuing for the last few, for the pricing period for which we have also entered into a contract with our customer. So as far as our input costs are concerned, except for the exchange rate variation, the other escalation parameters have already been flagged and have already been factored, and so we don't feel any impact on the input costs as well. And in respect of future orders, we are also trying to negotiate with the vendors, as what our CMD was telling. We will get a very good bargain, so the pressures on the margins will be much, it will improve, and then we expect it to conclude at a very reasonable cost.
Sure. So just last thing, you explained it a bit, want to clarify it. As regards the Q1 also seeing some impact as in the previous quarter, and we are looking at recouping it. So we should be able to maintain the 7 to 8% CAGR which has been there as regards revenue growth in the previous 3 years, or because of the improvement in the non-LCA order book, there should be a relatively higher growth this year.
No, we expect a same growth rate as CAGR of around 7 to 8% only this year also. And we do have still the task on hand to recoup what we are losing in the first quarter. So that being said, so we don't expect that to grow this year anything further than that. So we expect that the revenue from operations will continue to grow at approximately the rate that we have earlier given as a guidance. One more thing that we have to just inform from this one is that the operating profit to revenue, since the new policy from the MOD regarding the profitability is now slowly being percolated inside our system now. With that also, you have seen that the operating profit has improved from 16 to 17%. This is one of the points which was flagged last financial meet, that will it improve. So we said very categorically that it will not really affect us. But if you look at it, it is now increasing. It has increased to 17%, and we will be able to, or we are hoping to maintain at least this profit margin.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Just to sort of fill up for some of the questions that have come through. I think some comment which has been sought on naval LCA, the progress on that, and second also some commentary on CATS, especially given the latest moves that we are seeing in J&K, and also the status of the HAL Dynamic and IAI what kind of activities are being currently taken up at that JV. So I think these three subject topics which can be touched upon would be great.
Yeah. Let us start with the helicopters for Navy. Though the RFI is not yet come in for us, so.
You are asked about the LCA Navy or the helicopter version of
helicopter? Yeah.
We asked actually, you can address both of them.
Okay, fine. So the thing is that for the Navy operations, one of the requirements is that external dimensions are to be controlled. And as far as ALH is concerned, it's a much bigger machine at around 6.5 tons. So to bring it in line with that, though we have proven it in the Coast Guard aircraft without any type of folding other than the existing blade folding, they still want that height and the width to be reduced. So what we have now proving out is how to fold the tail boom. So it can be folded on itself, so that the the tail rotor comes down. So we are now matching the requirements as far as the height is required, the length is required, and we are also having a twin folding mechanism for the rotor blades, main rotor blades. These are projects on their own. We are trying to prove that we can do that job and be ready when it is so required. The requirement from Navy is yet to come in for us, so we are keeping our fingers crossed. When it comes, we will be in a position to meet the requirements, that is, meet the RFQ requirements. So that's how we are planning to do it, and it is being done at our own cost, that development of this folding versions of the ALH. Second part is, as far as the TED-BF or the Navy fixed wing is concerned, it is basically a design project with DRDO. Of course, the inputs are given from HAL, and the design, many of the detailed designs are done by us. But that project is yet to start. It's on the verge of your DPR stage now. So after, when it starts, that will be basically a design done by the DRDO with our contributions from HAL. So that will be on the Navy, on the ALH. The second thing that you asked was regarding the,
CAT.
IAI.
Yeah, CATS, CAT.
Now, CATS project is going on with, of course, money being spent by HAL only. It is our own internal development project, and basically the Alpha is being designed. There are 4 components to it. The Warrior that is another UAV which is also being designed by us. So these 2 are going on. There is a third one which is called the HAPS, that is a high altitude pseudo satellite. That is a UAV which operates at around 70,000 plus feet. That project is also going on. So as told earlier, this all in line, and we are having a 5-year time frame for making the whole thing. So we are meeting that requirement. And third one is, there is an IIT JV also on this. So there are IITs involved in this. NAL is involved in this, and we are ourselves doing, and also there is a startup involved in this project. So it's a fully Atmanirbhar project, if you want to call it that. So all within the country, and various academia as well as startups, private industry, and HAL all put together, we are doing it. As far as you mentioned about the JV with the Dynamatics, us and Israeli Aerospace, that is IAI, is concerned, that of course was regarding Heron 2, but at the same time we had another 2 MOUs, one for Heron TP and as well as one with ELTA. Elbit for the rotary wing ones. That is progressing well. Again, it has been stopped because of pandemic, so we couldn't get into the nitty-gritty of it, because neither the Israelis could come here nor we could go there. So once this clears, I think we should be able to do that quicker. That is regarding Heron TP.
Okay, great. Any risk you see procurement of this drone type platforms over fixed-wing platforms, given the emerging landscape? Is there any discussions that you are sort of seeing or maybe asked about?
Your question was not clear. Can you kindly reframe or clarify?
Yeah. I'll just try to explain it in one sentence. Essentially, what I was trying to understand that is any trend or discussions that you see emerging, which prioritizes purchases of drones given the emerging current circumstances over fixed wing platforms. Is any trend that you are seeing?
No, there is no such trend that we are seeing as of now.
Okay, great. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sachin Maniar from InCred Research. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congratulations for good numbers, sir. So my first question is on the execution of 44 aircraft we have done in FY21. Can you give a rough breakup how much we have done in Sukhoi, LCA, and ALH? And what are the similar numbers we are expecting to execute in FY22? That's my first question.
Yeah. Last year we did about 44 numbers of both aircraft, fixed wing as well as the helicopters. Fixed wing, as you are aware, Su-30 went about 4 numbers, which was the last of the lot that we had to supply. And we had in LCA 6 numbers, and Dornier 4, which all the 3 fixed wing put together was 14, and the balance were towards the rotary wing platforms, which is ALH, LCH, and Chetak. These were the constituents, which 14 plus 20, 14 of fixed wing and 20 of rotary wing. That is what was the composition. This year, as you are aware, since the Su-30 contract has got over, the fixed wing would have to bulk, it has to come from LCA. So LCA, as we earlier said, there would be 10 numbers of LCA on the FOC version which has to be supplied, which will be supplying this year. And a few Dorniers would be there. And balance, more number of rotary platforms would be there. We are planning to maintain the same numbers around that. Our numbers may not be more, but it would be near that. But we would making it up for the spare supplies and other RMS supplies which are pending, we would be doing it more. So the numbers would be around the same.
So my second question was on ROH itself. So we have already done a 125 billion of revenues on ROH. So we have a very strong growth in last few years in ROH. And so on this base, can you see the growth on ROH, because the order backlog is still at 145 billion. So in the meantime, since you have said that the overall aircraft would be same, ROH would be moderate. So 6 to 7% growth is it's like difficult next FY22, FY23 till the LCA-1A kicks in from 24-25?
See, it depends, because this year we have no issues as far as the growth is concerned. Next year, definitely, because the new orders will be in the pipeline but not deliverable. So there will be a problem with as far as the platforms are concerned. So to avoid a drop in revenue next year, what we are doing is to gear up the other sources of revenue, basically the engines. And if we can conclude the Su-30 orders this year, then some supplies from the Su-30 is also expected next year. We'll also have the LCA trainer orders pending for next year, and we also have the balance of your rotary wing, that is your helicopter orders pending with this. So we don't expect a sharp drop, but we will have a problem as far as the if getting a growth is concerned. I should be very pragmatic in that, saying that it should but we will be able to meet the requirements. The growth definitely will start coming in from 23-24 onwards, when the 83 LCA order kicks in, as well as the orders for the LUH and LCH kicks in. So these are the two growth drivers for us from 23-24 onwards. So 22-23, yes, we do have this one, but we have sufficient ways and means to meet the revenue task.
Sure. And so my last question is on the data set, which is almost 90 days of sales. What would be the normalized rates we should look for going? Is it this 90 days is been normalized, or if you say it could go slightly higher than this level?
You are talking receivables here?
You are talking about receivables?
Receivables, yes.
It is at par. In fact, if you look at 90 days, it's par for us. So coming down below that is not expected much. Maybe maximum that we can go down is about 70-75 days, not beyond that. But it should be hovering around this 90 to 100 days.
The reason for these 90 days is that normally from the time we deliver an aircraft or a rotable or a repair and overall work is done, till the time we get the documentation done and when we get the money, amount getting clear from our payment authorities, normally it is a 90-day cycle. So that 90 days is the most optimal level. We expect it to maintain it at this level. It may not go up substantially, but definitely coming down, it's going to be not very, we feel that it may probably come down a few days here or there, but 90 days you should take it as optimal level.
Thanks a lot, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jonas Bhutta from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity again. Two questions. Firstly, sir, just coming back to Bhavin's earlier question, sir, on the potential in the overall long-term potential in helicopters, sir. So around 2-3 years back when we last met, at that time you had mentioned that ALH has a total opportunity size of almost 350-400 numbers, where we have supplied only 150 odd-ish. So has that changed in any way? As in, this is the long-term prospect. There's nothing in terms of whether it is in the pipeline currently or not, or thing. And the other one was LUH. So while again LUH, you are saying that only 187 numbers, but again this was a program that was being looked at as a replacement for Cheetal and Cheetal and Cheetah helicopters, which in the fleet today are more than 600 numbers, sir. So again, just wanted to understand whether there's been a change in strategy from the client where these numbers have now look smaller in terms of opportunities.
No, let me get your numbers correct, because your numbers slightly at variance. We said 350 numbers for ALH. We have already completed 300. Delivered. So 50 odd is what we initially said. It is actually going to be more than that now. So we initially gave a figure of 350. We prefer to have, I think.
Sorry to interrupt. The management line got disconnected. Please stay connected while I reconnect them. Ladies and gentlemen, the management line is reconnected back. Thank you for patiently holding. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. So, regarding the last question, can I continue from where I left out?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, as far as ALH is concerned, as I told you, we have already completed on 300, and we expect it to be slightly more than 350 as of now. So, it will be definitely what we have projected was correct there. Second thing regarding LUH, that was what you are asking. The present fleet of Chetak Cheetah is around 400. It's not 600. So around 400, which is to be replaced by two-pronged strategy. What these people initially it was designed was around 200 from LUH and around 200 by Camo 226. So it depends on how much is ordered on Camo. The LUH numbers may or may not may increase a bit more than that. This is the initial estimate that we have done. This didn't include the requirements of Navy because Camo was basically for Army and Air Force. So Navy has not been included. Coast Guard has not been included. Other miscellaneous requirements against LUH has not been included. So we expect the LUH line to continue for a long time to come. Not limited to 200 numbers that we are talking about now. So this is regarding the LUH. And of course the Camo project, the Russians have yet to finalize the deal along with us, with MOD. So once that kicks in, so that will also be another 200 helicopters, which will also be done through the from our facilities at Tumkur. LCH requirements is what we projected was around 150, and it continues to be 150 as of now also. And that being a very specific platform, we don't expect it to grow like LUH or ALH. The ALH fleet had been a very successful design and project for us, so that is still continuing strong. But we are looking at, as I told in a previous question, that we are looking at the future to be, we move forward with LCH, LUH, and of course IMRH. The 325 or 350 numbers that you were earlier told was actually, I think, was related to IMRH. IMRH 325 is a number that we projected for at the beginning of the project, so it continues to be the same. It might increase because now Navy has joined in the project. So Navy's requirement has not been taken into account, so that will increase. Now IMRH will be done in two different platforms. one for Army because the requirement of the cabin changes. So one for Army and Air Force and one for Navy. So these two platforms will be concurrently developed with the basic structure and the transmission assemblies and all being common. So this is what where it stands for IMRS, that is a 10 to 12 ton category one.
Understood. So my second question was on the ROH, sir. So we were again one of the main reasons why we were seeing very strong growth in ROH revenues was because we were every year the number of Sukhois that we were overhauling were increasing. However, there was going to be somewhere where we would have plateaued. I think 17 numbers or 20 numbers a year. Has that number been arrived at in FY21 or will it be arrived at in 22? And if yes, then from where further growth in ROH is expected, as in this level of growth of 8-10% every year, can that still be projected beyond 22, sir? That's my final question. Thank you.
Yeah, the requirement of ROH depends on the number of platforms that is in service from which is supported by HAL. It's not only Su-30. So Su-30 as it is, we are increasing the numbers from 15 to 17 and this year it will be 20. It will plateau not this year or next year, it will plateau somewhere around 24, 25. It will continue to grow in that till that time. So that is on Su-30, but at the same time, the other platforms also will start coming in for repair overall, which is now presently being delivered. So that means we will have more of ROH activities as far as LCA is concerned and also as far as the helicopters are concerned. Because here the numbers are increasing, so as you keep delivering it, they do come in for a repair overall cycle and also for inspection cycles. So the ROH activities continuously will keep growing. So we don't see any plateau as far as the totality of the ROH orders are concerned. It might come down for one of the platforms, but it will increase for the other platforms.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir, and all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as this was the last question for today, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
I'd like to thank everybody for joining and taking active part in today's video call on our financials. As we said that this year we had a good numbers as far as the financials are concerned. We have a lot of projects going on and a lot of projects coming in the future. And we hope that we have another analyst meet and we will be able to give you a better picture next year. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of ICICI Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.